Hey guys, welcome to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Thursday, late afternoon / early evening to you all. In this video, we're talking about what can be deemed as breaking news around Spurs going for a second marquee signing of summer. We're talking Morgan Gibbs White and the acceleration of a deal for the Nottingham Forest attacker. We're going to be talking about 4 or 5 different sources surrounding this deal and the fact that this deal is accelerating. We'll talk about that. He might have a release clause. We talk about that as well. Obviously, today is the day of the Kudus medical. Hopefully, we might not see anything today. I am keeping an eye, hence why I'm looking over here. So don't think I'm ignoring you. I'm looking over there for a reason. Hopefully, you find some good news surrounding Kudus and the promotion side of things tonight, 6 or 7 o'clock. If not, it'll be tomorrow lunchtime, I reckon, something like that. Good footfall on apps. But yes, Kudus medical today. You'd expect it to pretty much be done, and the promotion side right now. But let's talk Morgan Gibbs White, because David Ornstein has come out with another bomber for Spurs. He puts out an exclusive just over 2 hours ago that Tottenham Hotspur are turning attention to Nottingham Forest midfielder Morgan Gibbs White. Thomas Frank is a long-term admirer of the 25-year-old, and Spurs will try to convince the England international to join if the deal can be agreed with Nottingham Forest. So just pausing there before I bring the other sources in to talk about. Like, it's hang on a second. Is there breaking news? No, I'm not. Sorry, hang on a second. People are telling me there's breaking news. Right, scratch everything that I've just said, because Mike McGrath has said that Morgan Gibbs White will have a Tottenham Hotspur medical tomorrow. Spurs will trigger his release clause. He's having a medical. He's having a medical. Right, okay. Change the tune. Right. Okay. Everything that I just opened with completely disregards everything that I have just said. Let me start again, because Morgan Gibbs White, it's been announced that Morgan Gibbs White will have a medical tomorrow with Tottenham Hotspur. That's a quick turnaround. That is a really, really quick turnaround. Bear with me. I'm trying to bring you more and more. I'm breaking news here online. Yeah, an exclusive 5 minutes ago. Morgan Gibbs White will have a Tottenham Hotspur medical tomorrow. Spurs will trigger the £60 million release clause. Right. Okay. I've just tweeted that out. If you want to have a look at it's on my Twitter. I've just reposted it. Wow. Wow, what a 48 hours for Spurs in the transfer market. Jesus Christ. What the hell is happening? Boris, Nolan, Steampunk, Sean, Less Known, Jude, Devanch, Hursty, how are we all? Jesus Christ. Right, let me... God, I can't even rename the title of the stream. Let me see if I can do it through my studio app on my phone, because, well, this is mental. This is absolutely mental. Okay, I can't. Oh, that's a bit annoying. Well, we'll do it in a bit. I don't really care too much. I want to speak to you all because, yes, let me repeat. Spurs have booked the medical. Morgan Gibbs White is due to have a medical with Tottenham tomorrow. It all obviously came out 2 hours ago from David Ornstein and saying that Spurs are moving. Spurs are moving for him. Romano, just over an hour ago, after Kudus deal is done, Tottenham have made a formal approach to Nottingham Forest for Morgan Gibbs White. Club talks ongoing with an opening bid expected soon. Gibbs is open to the move. Up to the clubs now. Sammy Muckbell at 4:05, so an hour and 20 minutes ago, Tottenham have opened formal club-to-club talks with Nottingham Forest over a minimum £60 million move for Morgan Gibbs White. Transfer accelerating quickly. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Right. Everyone, give me 30 seconds. I just need to go and rename the stream and I'll be back. Please do not leave. I will be back in 30 seconds on this stream. I promise. Give me just a second. All right. All right. I think I'm back. I think I'm back. If possible, could someone just nip out of the stream, refresh it just to see if the title has updated itself? I would really, really appreciate it. You won't miss any news. I promise. Um, wow. Wow. What a couple of days for Tottenham transfer market wise. Dean's is refreshed. Thank you, Dean. Appreciate it, my friend. You haven't missed anything. I haven't gone and changed any things else. All right. So yeah, let's talk about Morgan Gibbs White and his medical being booked. That's from Mike McGrath, by the way, because actually, shout out John Percy through the Telegraph 40 minutes ago, saying that Tottenham are ready to trigger a £60 million release clause to sign Forest and England midfielder Morgan Gibbs White. Talks accelerating between the two clubs. That was 40 minutes ago. And oh, hang on. There's potential investment discussion. Right. We need to talk about investment into Spurs as well. That's something that's potentially happening there. Afternoon, Sonia. Afternoon, you all. Afternoon, you all. So yes, Morgan Gibbs White. Let's talk about Morgan Gibbs White, before we talk about potential investment that is coming into Tottenham Hotspur. So shout out, obviously, Romano and Ornstein, McGrath, Muckbell, John Percy. Shout out to all of those guys and their reporting on this deal. Morgan Gibbs White. Let's talk about Morgan Gibbs White first and foremost. What he's about, who he is, all of those things so far. So let's talk about him as a person, his data. He's 25 years old. He's a January baby, so he's 25 and a half years old, you could call him. Like I say, he's an international. He's been capped 4 times in the last basically year by England, which is great. He had 2 years left on his contract for the expiring of 2027. He's an attacking midfielder that can play a little bit of wing, but I've sort of assumed him as a winger style player because he drifts out there, especially on the counter attack. He attacks flanks and things like that. When we fast forward to his last season for Nottingham Forest, I'm just bringing it up now. He had a stellar season last year. He was fantastic for Nottingham Forest. He was a revelation, really, in what was a phenomenal season for Nottingham Forest. I think a lot of people go, "Oh, they fell off at the end and didn't get Champions League football." I can promise you now, Nottingham Forest getting Conference League football when a lot of people tip them to go down is a phenomenal job by Nuno and that playing staff. But last season, across the Premier League and the FA Cup, he had played 38 times. He got 7 goals and 10 assists. So actually, all of that came in the Premier League, by the way. He had 34 games, 7 goals, 10 assists, so 17 goal contributions, one a game, one every 2 games. Wow, this is. I didn't expect it. I expected to come in, talk about the deal, and kind of move on and say, "Oh, there might be some things happening in the future. You never know." Just to be Uh, Ornstein 5 minutes ago saying that Gibbs White's contract believed to include a £60 million release clause. Tottenham working to sign the midfielder from Forest. Frank was keen on the player whilst at Brentford. He hasn't said there's a medical booked, but all the signs from there, all the signs from there are pointing towards basically that is a medical booked. Wow. Romano's gone, is he? Hang on. What's Romano said? Here we go, confirmed. Breaking. Morgan Gibbs White to Tottenham. Here we go. Spurs will trigger the £60 million release clause after direct contact with Forest today. Medical booked and set to take place in 24 hours. Wow. So direct contact with Forest today. Look, this could have been a deal they've been working on a little while, but to really nail it today, fair play. Let me just repost that. Wow. Okay. Christ alive. Here we go. Confirmed. Yes, here we go. Yeah. Look, I think we will talk about, I think, the impact on the squad with these two guys coming in and what it would mean for certain players going out the other way. We'll talk about that in a second. And we're going to talk about potential. There's rumors that investment has come into Spurs, hence the ability to spend. And you'll see what I mean when I talk about that. This has come out of nowhere. We've been linked with Gibbs White for about a year, and I remember talking about him and a long time ago. And this has really come out of left field. This is Johan Lang, by the way, working absolutely to what he does. He works quietly, he works stealthily, and he works efficiently. I gave him crap in January for the Disasi debacle and how loud that deal was. And Tell, I think, was more of a buy-in noise because that's what Bayern do. But for the most part, Johan Lang has worked stealthily and he's worked under the radar on deals. So kudos to Johan on these two deals and how quickly and how efficiently and how quiet they have been. I know a lot of people go, he just signs teenagers. And I think he definitely will show you right now, he's not signing teenagers. Okay. Well, he still is, but that's not all he's known for. All right. Prasci would never. Prasci would be working on 27 deals of Italian players. EZ, you have joined. Let me refresh everyone. Fabrizio Romano, here we go. Confirm medical book tomorrow. Morgan Gibbs White, £60 million release clause. So how do we feel about Gibbs White? Are we happy? Please send me your comments. I want to read them all. I am hungry to eat, but I am willing to take some time to chat about this right now. Joey's excited. He's hit me with just a let's go, a Tom Brady-esque let's go. What's going on? How do I feel? Well, Joey says amazing. That's how he feels. I feel good about this deal. It's look, it's homegrown as well. I always think that's a nice thing. I think it might be a touch overpriced, but today's market is just a weird world, if I'm honest. I mean, 17 goal contributions for a team tipped to go down. He was their best player last season by a good distance. And I think he's going to come into a Spurs side and a Spurs squad who are primed and tipped to take a bit of a leap this year. I think what's exciting is, Maddison was to be injured. You go, okay, Maddison's injured. You still got Gibbs White. Son gets injured. Cool, you still got Kudus. Let's not panic. The rotation options are there finally. Not backups. I'm not saying either one of those two players are backups. On this channel, we do not do the word backups. We do rotation. Every player is a rotational option in my world. I think Gibbs White is a super exciting player. The issues I've had in regards to the Kudu situation was the lack of output last season. You cannot complain about Gibbs White's output last season. It's a goal or assist contribution every other game. That is very solid, very good. Yes, 60 million is a lot of money, and we're spending 115 million on two guys. But you know what? When on earth do we do this frequently? This feels like a very rare situation that I'm just going to enjoy the moment. We're European champions, Champions League football next season. We've signed two players, 150 million. Yeah, okay, maybe could you have gotten a better player and this, that, or the other? It's irrelevant because that's what Thomas Frank wants. Thomas Frank wants these players. And kudos goes to Johan Lang massively for delivering players for Thomas Frank. Johan Lang is a very big supporter of Thomas Frank. This is the guy that he wanted at Aston Villa, and he's got his guy, okay, albeit at a different side. But you know what? Thomas Franks goes, I need these players, and these are players that he's wanted. And by July, let's say July 11th, so tomorrow, because obviously medicals are tomorrow for Gibbs White. By July 11th, we're not going on tour, we haven't played any games, and we've made two marquee signings. That's not bad. Do you know what? Thumbs up balloons, everything, everything, every fireworks, whatever my MacBook can do, all of it. You know the rules. So look, I think for the most part, people are very excited. Kaiju says Johnson and Gibbs White linking up again. I'm all for it. Again, I think, Caleb, I've seen your comment about Madison. Let's not look at it as it's Madison or Gibbs White. It's Madison and Gibbs White. Spurs fans, unfortunately, we have been programmed into having a starting 11 and a few rotational options. And that's what we've always been programmed for years and decades. Wouldn't it be nice to have two quality players per positions, like, I don't know, competent sides? And we're getting there finally. By the way, Caleb, I'm not having a dig. I'm not having a dig. Madison's not leaving. Okay. Madison is not leaving. He's still a huge part of this squad and the future. Gibbs White is adding to that. Kudus is adding to that. Okay. And the other thing is, we talked earlier on this summer and how Spurs wanted to add players with experience. And it doesn't mean 28, 29, 30-year-olds. It means players who have played in the Premier League, who have had a couple of seasons or know the English pyramid and have experience of that. We've got a 25-year-old Morgan Gibbs White that knows the English pyramid and with Premier League football experience, and Kudus, who's been in the Premier League for 2 seasons. So there you go. There is experience of the Premier League and coming in to hit the ground running. I love the intention. I don't think anyone can deny that the intention is good right now. It's exciting in that regard. I'm not going to think too much about what's next in terms of players coming in. Cough, cough, a left back. But on Gibbs White, it's exciting. It's efficiency. And you know what? I'm not going to complain. I'm just not going to complain. And I don't know how anyone could complain. And yeah, wow. So look, hopefully, first and foremost, Kudus. We see a little bit of Kudus holding the shirt with a picture today. I don't need to hear from him today. If I can just see a picture with him with a shirt, I'll be content until tomorrow lunchtime. Same thing with Gibbs White in the evening, holding the shirt, content. I'll have something on Saturday. Spread it out a little bit. Let me enjoy the moments. You know what I mean? So there's that. But what a lovely afternoon, J-Mac. Absolutely, my friend. I hope you've been okay. Gibbo, new job is going well. It's been a good few weeks. Thanks, mate. So looking at kind of what needs to happen at Spurs, just to give you a bit of a conversation piece before we talk about a few other bits and bobs, especially about investment. Please do not turn off, because I want to talk about this supposed investment that's coming out of reports. Okay, so bear with me. Going forward, Spurs still have a very bloated squad. Now, obviously, this week was really the start of the Thomas Frank training period. So Thomas Frank's working on who he's got, seeing what he's got. He's not got the full squad, and it's been a while, but is this Spurs we're talking about here? I know, Joshua. I'm scared. I'm scared. Everyone, panic. But no, on that side of things, Spurs have a bloated squad. They need to move off of players. He will see what he's working with for the next couple of weeks, and then I would expect an exodus to kick off really from this sort of time next week onwards. You'll start to see players being moved off. There's obviously going to be players we know are leaving. Obviously people like Brian Hill will be gone, but there will be more leaving. I would not be shocked by bigger names going. Now, Romero is staying. That's every report has said. Romero is staying. Okay. Yeah, Marshall, he's giving the get. Here we go. You've got to be up on time, Marshall. If you're on time, you hear these things. You saw a flying pig. There's a thumbs up for that. But look, there'll be players moving on. We know that. Be expecting of bigger names. I wouldn't be shocked, for example, if a Bentancur might be gone. There's still no contract agreed. Kulu to go. Kulu can't pass a medical. Kulu can't go because he can't pass a medical. He's also one of our better players. So, no, Kulu's not going. Matters is not going. Now, if they end up going, nobody's reported it, and I'd be shocked. And I would genuinely be shocked if either were moved on. What I would say is watch out for, your Richarlisons, your Basumas, your Bentancurs. and probably youth players moving on. You know, Solomon, Hill, Valise has already moved. That's one already done. So yeah, I would say expect moves to happen, but just be patient for another sort of 2 weeks on that, because again, Frank's going to want to see what he's dealing with. All right, so just be patient on that. But all I'm saying is on Basuma and on Bentancur, both the one you left on the contracts, no contract talks have been chatted about. Juve and Fenerbahce are both interested in Basuma, supposed rumored fee of about 20 million. We obviously know Solomon with Leeds being interested, Marseille being interested, Everton being interested, but Leeds apparently need to move off of Jack Harrison, according to one of my friends. So that might slow that down. So look, lots of stuff needs to happen. There'll be players going out on loan of youngsters as well. So just be patient on that is all I'm going to say. Now, I want to talk about this investment conversation piece because this has come out and a lot of people have said there might be some investments going on into Tottenham Hotspur because a couple of different sources I want to talk about. Alistair Gold was saying, he's literally 31 minutes ago, I've previously reported about the expectation in and around the club of new investment coming in potentially from Enic. These kind of moves appear to suggest that's on the way. So it may not be in right this second, but if they kind of know, other than, you know, lawyers just kind of pushing it through and doing things like that, that there is going to be investment coming, because the source, who's had a bit of a hot streak over the last couple of weeks, especially on the time of, you know, really people leaving from higher ups all the way through Kudus, you know, really ahead of the game on this. Supposed investment numbers around 300 million he's put. Apparently the huge investment into Tottenham is from an outside sponsorship deal, supposedly. Okay. Now, what was I just saw something? I've just completely lost it. There was maybe a potential breakdown of what it is. Oh, where is it? Uh, there's reports that it's from additional funds by Enic. Okay, so bear with me on this one. There's maybe additional funds from Enic, and apparently an external sponsorship deal, and people have touted the Saudi Arabia. So Saudi might not buy our players, but Saudi might just give us loads of money. Supposed around about 300 million outside, which means that would line up with the idea of maybe 5 to 10% purchase of a minority ownership, is what Daniel Levy's wanted. Enic have wanted an outside party to purchase a small minority holding in the club. You know, Qatar was interested for a while, but obviously Spurs are valued very, very high. So this could be anywhere between 5 and 10%. Maybe that's what it could potentially be. I'm not saying this is true. I'm just saying these are numbers that are being touted in the Spurs arena of things. It's insane, isn't it? It's absolutely insane. But yes, I mean, look, if the investment's coming in, it's certainly something. So I know the quality of this stream is a bit naff because I'm stopping and starting a lot, but there's so much happening that I'm trying to just stay on top of it, because I started off this live by going, hey, Spurs are in talks with Nottingham Forest. And then 6 minutes in, it was Spurs have actually got a medical book. So things change really quickly from this. So I'm a little bit flustered. So apologies to you all for the quality of me in this stream, which is crap, to be honest. I know. But yeah, on the outside investment is huge. I'm not saying we, but higher ups have been wanting it for ages. The fact that, you know, there was cash flow issues. They talked about cash flow problems, and then they spent 150 million in 48 hours. that would make you think then yes, there's been a pump of money into the club, which would probably in turn mean Enic have probably pumped money into the club themselves, in turn ahead of that 300 million coming in, and maybe it's that 300 million of like 120 just goes straight back to Enic. Maybe it's like a loan deal of money. Maybe that's kind of what they're doing, and just sort of gets ahead of schedule, which that could be the case. We might get a left back. AJ, stop it. Don't threaten me with a good time, big man. Honestly. Don't sell myself short. I promise I haven't. It's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. I'm cheered up, Simo. I'm in a good mood. I'm in a good mood, mate. I look tired, but I'm in a good mood. Doesn't mean Kudus phase medical. No, Kagiso. I will just for you, Kagiso. Kudus is currently walking around the stadium as we the training grounds as we speak, filming promo. Apparently, he's medical was today. Everything's all good so far. This is another deal. So this is Kudus is this that. This is another one. So 60 million. We've triggered the release clause. Tomorrow is Morgan Gibbs White's medical. So back-to-back days, basically. David Ornstein, here you go. Morgan Gibbs White scheduled to undergo medical on Friday ahead of proposed transfer from Nottingham Forest to Tottenham Hotspur. The £60 million release clause is, there you go. There you go. Ornstein's been, do you know what? Shout out David Ornstein for his work so far this week. What I'm confused about, he was linked, right, to City earlier on this summer. Do you remember I was talking about it? Because we were linked to him. We were linked to Eze and things like that. By the way, I think this is Eze done now. That's it. No more Eze. Hansi, if you're watching this back later, I'm sorry. I don't think we're getting Eze. This is an Eze adjacent move. On this, though, it was kind of like, I'm confused because City has supposedly said this deal was too expensive and pivoted. But it's only 60 million. So how much do they view him for, Let's go. Come on, you Spurs. Absolutely. Also just proves we have 0 ITKs other than tier 1 journos. I think you could probably say like that Alistair Gold is an ITK and he's pretty solid. You know what I mean? Like he's Alistair Gold is fantastic for like really in-depth reporting, like really specific, like great stuff. Like fair play. Ain't no bomber like an Ornstein bomber. Ornstein is on one hell of a hot streak this week. He is killing it. I mean, Romano's losing the fight between the two, He is killing it. Yeah, Ali Gold has confirmed it, yes. If you go on Alistair Gold's Twitter, it is there. It is there. Yeah, Alistair Gold sometimes is a tad bit slow, but because it's not because he's rubbish. It's because he's thorough and he wants to make sure it's 100% right. And I'd rather him spend an extra 5 to 10 minutes getting it right than him putting out something that's wrong. Because there's been other ITKs this week that have been doing that and got it horribly, horribly wrong. So I don't mind. Ali Gold is fantastic in my books, personally. I don't mind Morgan Gibbs White instead of Eze. They're pretty much the same price. If they got more, well, technically, Gibbs White's cheaper. He's £8 million cheaper. At this rate, we can hope for a marquee 6. Look, I don't know about marquee 6s. I don't know right this second. I think, Bissouma or Bentancur both maybe moved on this summer. They're both working with Thomas Frank as we speak this week, but they maybe moved on. Spurs, I think, were going to have to be in for a transformative summer because actually, when you think about it, the recruitment in the last few years has been at times really underwhelming. I'm not saying the recruitment this summer has been already amazing because it's, they haven't even played a game of football, but on paper, it shows they're trying. It shows they're wanting to go for it. They've seen Liverpool spend 120 million on one guy and they're ahead of schedule. They got Salah and Van Dijk and Alisson. They added in, they're sprinkling great players like that. When you think of Arsenal went big on people like Rice and Zubimendi and people like that because they were ahead. They've got players in, they've got the structure in. City are City, they're a beast. Chelsea are Chelsea, they're a beast when it comes to spending. Man United don't have a Scooby what they're doing half the time. Which I want to talk about Vissa in just a second. Bear with me on a little bit of Vissa conversation. But when you think about it, this is what a big club does. A big club goes, right, we're going to go for it. We're going to spend big on a few players who are going to make massive impacts right off the bat. Because we did the Bergvall Gray thing, and I think Bergvall's a rock star. I think Gray's going to be a rock star, but you need time with these guys. They've done some shrewd business. I think Kinski is going to improve, but he will improve, but he's a young guy still. We think about Big Kev Danso, shrewd bit of business. Destiny Doggy was shrewd business. We loaned him back. A lot of those sort of other moves, like Destiny and Pape, was loaned back and were delayed a year. These are have a bit of this. Dominic Solanke last summer, have a bit of that. It's players for now and in the future. Gibbs White being 25, Kudus being 24, they'll be around for 5 or 6 years. They're here for the future as well as the now. And that's the kind of business you wanted, I wanted. We don't mind the Wonder Kid moves. I think all of us actually really like the Wonder Kid moves. What we also wanted was the ready-to-go guys to help them and nurture their progression with them. And now we're doing this. Now we're doing that ready-to-go situation. So fantastic on that side of things. But, investment coming in, I think, is absolutely massive. That would be massive for Spurs. I think, the talk around Spurs' cash flow issues, I think that investment would fix a lot of that. You'll be shocked how much it would fix. It would clean off a lot of owed money. You'd be surprised about that as well. The Kudus deal, just give you a bit of a breakdown. The 55 million, it'll be stretched over 3 years, so call it 18 million a year. It is just under that, but you know what I mean? Let's use round numbers. It's about 18 million a year. Again, it's a decent chunk per year, but it's off the books quicker. Instead of stretched over 5 years, we're in the hook for a little bit longer. Sometimes, a little bit more every single year. Get it done earlier. It's off the books quicker, So there is that. Callum Roach is here. Everyone, Callum Roach is here. Careful. And Alez. Wow, Alez is here. Ivan, how are you? Has Daniel had a breakdown? Daniel opened that checkbook. Spiders fell out. No, I'm joking. Look, as much as anyone can hate Daniel Levy, you have to give him credit. He's going for it. He is. Now, don't get me wrong, if this was the only 2 signings this summer, it'd be disappointing. But by July 10th, to basically have spent 150 million on 2 players, I don't think anyone could complain about his efforts. Now, was it the right players? Obviously, there's always that discussion, but the actual value, he is going for it. So there you go. We'll see on the release clause about how many years that's stretched over. We'll sort of see on that. I don't think it's still a good summer. We still need more because do you know what, Spurs Chat Daily? If you've been watching me chat Spurs Daily, see what I did there? We need a left back. All right. Everyone in this community knows we still need a left back. All right. These are great, but I still need another left back. All right. So I'm going to keep putting it out into the atmosphere. Left back, left back, left back. What's that? That's a left back. Who's that coming over the hill? That's a left back. All right. Alez has been a member for 6. Not Alez, sorry. Aldente's been a member for 6 months. Kudos. More Gibbs White winning. Huge transfers and love to see them. 2 experienced top-level players with Premier experience. More please, Levy. More please, Lang. And absolutely, no, not Sergio Reguilon. I won't have that. We've finally got off the guy, all right? Look, Robinson, those links have quietened down a little bit. We'll sort of see on that. I don't know if they'll go look, let's be honest. Yesterday, I said that Spurs wouldn't make another marquee signing, and now I look like a mug 24 hours later. 24 hours later, I have metaphorically had my pants down because I said, that's the marquee signing of the summer. We'll do some smaller business like we normally do. And Daniel Levy just went, watch this. I'm going to mug this guy off. Here's a marquee signing 24 hours later. I've had my pants down by Daniel Levy. Honestly, he's absolutely mugged me off there, isn't he? We always need to prove our squad, otherwise that we will stagnate. That's what we did under Poch. Europa Cup and now moving out of transfer windows. Have we all woken up in a parallel universe? Pinch yourself. Links seem to mean nothing. We move quick and under the radar. And I've said it all along. Johan Lang is the worst person for me in terms of content creation. When it was Pratici, I could make 2 or 3 videos a day. That's how good and that's how much news was there. Johan Lang, like I am, struggling, clutching at straws. But then when something hits, it's like, whoa. And I've always said as well, I'd rather that. I'd rather struggle making content and I would rather get hit with bombers left, right, and center. Like these last 2 days have been mental. And do you know what? Johan, work in silence all you want, my friend. Crack on. This does, I can't lie, put to bed the Johan Lang Paratici comparison, by the way. Johan is leaps and bounds ahead of Paratici in my eyes. He's already leaps and bounds ahead of him. The fact that he can sell players, that's already impressive enough as it is. But, the recruitment recently has been actually quite solid. I know people will point to Werner, but we all have misses. He also got Bergvall for 8.5 million. That's a huge hit. Like a huge hit. And he's taking one for the team from Levy. I know, Marco. He's had me there, am I? Am I dreaming, Eve? No, you're not. I haven't been in chat for a while. Where's Donna at? Donna, I think I saw Donna comment earlier, actually. I could be wrong. I think Donna commented earlier. Levy's cooking. Break out the summer fruit squash. Do you know what? I don't have any on me right now. But yes, we will be absolutely smashing some summer fruit squashes tonight in celebration. Now time to get Oliver Skip and Marcus Edwards. Try to tell people Prachi was overrated. Hincapié is being linked to Atleti because Atleti aren't being able to progress on Romero. If you want to know, Atleti are pulling out of the Romero business. It's too expensive. In their eyes, for normal business, it's not too expensive, but there's not that. Yeah, Romero staying. Hey, ooh, that feels like a massive signing as well. Romero staying. I'm so happy about that. But yes, fantastic news. Keeping Romero to a great day. Summer fruit squash time. It is so summer fruit squash time. Real might be interested after really good skins. Well, they'll probably go, we want to sign him for free. And we'll go, yeah, he's got 2 years left in his contract, lads. And they'll go, oh, crap. We only do 3 signings because Real Madrid can't actually seem to spend on players. Wait for someone to nibble. Wait for someone to nibble. Wait for someone to nibble on that. I'm not a Kool-Aid addict. Van Gogh. I'm Marshall before he says something. I'm not one. All right. Summit Fruit Squash and Sainsbury's water winning for Andy. Other water does apply from other supermarkets, but yes, I am all about that. Are we getting Esteve? Look, Esteve, I've seen the links. There is no bids for him at the moment, but it's someone to be linked to before. It's been someone to link to before. Do we still need to sell him? No. No, we don't need to sell him. We don't need to sell him whatsoever. What a mental 48 hours. Like, Christ alive. All I'm going to say is if Jesus wept, if you all know, I say Jesus wept a lot. If that investment is true, like we obviously don't truly know, if that investment reporting is true, panic. Not in a bad way, panic because I've not seen us move like this before. This is we can spend with anyone kind of activity. I'm not saying like 55, 60 million for a lot of the big boys is, quite normal money now, but that's what I'm saying. It's, we can do it. No problems. Champions League revenue as well. Let's not forget about that. Champions League revenue back this season. That's we're talking big money. We're talking 100+ million on that alone. When we think about, the end of financial year reports and, Spurs make, somewhere between 550 and 600 million. It will take a leap next year because of the Europa League situation. It's going to take a massive leap the year after due to the Champions League revenue. So huge, absolutely huge. What can they be possibly sponsoring worth 300 million? It could be training ground stuff. It could be the stadium. I mean, could be. Is it stadium naming rights? Is it just actually they're making an investment into the club to take a small minority investment? Maybe that's what they're doing. I can literally hear my dog pacing in the hallway because it's time for him to have dinner as well. He's probably starving. The poor dog. Saw Brian Hill YouTube video on Spurs. Yeah, he'll end up leaving to Spain. It is dark for the league if we have 350 million spent. Long day. I mean, Thomas Frank must be absolutely crapping himself. He's like, I've never seen this amount of money before. It probably takes Brentford like 3 or 4 windows to spend it, and we've gone, there's 2 players. This is what I mean about some managers, taking that leap into a bigger club. Like, serious money, by the way. Like 100, I can't stress enough. 150 million is not cheap money. That's not a little bit of money. That is a serious amount of money, by the way. This is how a big team should act. And if we had the investment, shows what we could do. Absolutely. I'm not panicking. I'm wetter than dog in the rain. I hope you don't smell like a dog in the rain because they do not smell nice. Who do you want for number 6? By this point, mate, I couldn't even tell you because it doesn't exist. Not right now, it doesn't. And Johan Lane goes, boom, 50 million. And we go, oh my God, Johan, what are you up to? What are you bloody up to? Is it really fruit squash? Kool-Aid isn't, but my squash is, yes. Thomas Frank must be so giddy. He must be going, what the hell is this? Did you say 50 million, 55 million on one player? Whoa, hang on. Did you say 60 million on another player? What the hell? What the hell? I found that one out from younger people that I work with. What the hell? There we go. Right, one last thing I want to talk about before I head off and have my dinner and feed my dog his dinner because he's absolutely he's fuming. I can tell he's fuming. Johan Vissa. Okay, so Sky Sports saying that we're linked and we've had we're interested in Johan Vissa, and I'd said that Johan Vissa or Mbuemo, one of them. Oh, Johan Vissa, what timing this is. Nottingham Forest renew pursuit of Johan Vissa, fresh offer made to Brentford. Bid falls under 25 million, considerably lower than Brentford's valuation in excess of 50 million. That literally just now by Ornstein. What timing that is. I understand. I've just tweeted that out, by the way. But if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's in the description below. I'm trying to tweet a bit more frequently now. I know I've been pretty rubbish with it, but I'm trying to be. Yeah. So look on this, I was gonna talk about it. Philip, how are you? No, we didn't bid for Vissa. Nottingham Forest have bid for Vissa. Obviously, money from Gibbs White, Vissa. You see the Brian, how are you? It is true, Philip. Yeah, sorry, if you're just popping in, Morgan Gibbs White, 60 million release cord has been triggered. The medical is tomorrow. It's confirmed by every massive source in football. It is happening. I reckon. Oh, do you reckon 7 p.m. for Kudus? I reckon 7 p.m. for Kudus could be where we, unless it's happened already and no one's told me about the promo. But I think so. Today is to do. I've seen the one to do. Look, yeah, no, on Vissa. So Nottingham Forest supposedly, not Nottingham Forest, Brentford supposedly value him at 50 million. He has 1 year left on his contract. Even if I'm confused by the option. I thought he had 1 year left. He might have the option on top still to come. On Vissa, like I totally get why they're saying that price because they could get 65 on Embuemo, or they could sell Vissa, who's older, for 50. They'd sell Vissa, right? Now, I don't think they'd get Vissa for 50 million at all. He will be 29 this season. Not many years left on his contract. His value, in my opinion, is only depreciating now as time goes by. I think 25 to 30 was about right, in my opinion, just because of his age. We won't go in that market for 50 million. I really like Vissa. I would like Vissa. He's a Frank guy. Frank made Vissa the player that he is, and he's had a phenomenal season. But yeah, I mean, just his age alone, like he is, where, let me bring it up here. Vissa. Always have transfer markets hand. You just never know when you need it. Yeah, he's 29 in 6 weeks. So at the start of the season, he turns 29. You're not getting 50 million for a 29-year-old unless Saudi are paying you that money, which they're not, because it's Forest or Spurs at the moment. But obviously, with the fact of the situation surrounding, Forest, they're obviously they're going to have the money for him now. But also, when you think about the situation, they're selling one or the other. So Embuemo, it's one of the others. So if you want Vissa, you have to get ahead of Man United's Embuemo move. I mean, they've taken weeks and months to try and get this deal done for Embuemo. I mean, we've just done 2 deals really quickly. Let's sort of see how that goes, to be honest. Let's sort of see how that one goes. But what a crazy day for David Ornstein, by the way. He is killing it today. Absolutely killing it. He's killing the competition. He's killing his competition. I can promise you that. Just having a look. Is there any more news? Every time I refresh Twitter, it seems to be more and more news. Yeah. Someone just went, is this how Chelsea fans feel every day? Incredible. Well, okay, there you go. There's no more news for once. I can only bring you what I can bring you. There's no more news, I promise. This Reading game is going to be so fun. No clue what the starting lineup will look like. And that's the beauty, mate. Pre-season is all about just fun, isn't it? So there you go. Look, thank you all so much for joining me this evening. I need to go and eat. Okay, so I've been long. I thought I was going to do a 20-minute video. No, Morgan Gibbs White decided to nuke that situation. So thanks, Morgan. All right, God. See you tomorrow. So thank you all so much for joining me this evening. Thank you very much for all the comments and likes and subscribes. I really appreciate all the support as always. Please go enjoy the rest of your evenings, your mornings, your afternoons, wherever you are in the world. And I'll speak to you tomorrow where maybe we sign another player. You never know. Take care, everyone. Peace.